Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a moment in every woman's life when she stands at a crossroads. One road paved with expectations, silence, and limitations, while the other is uncharted, uncertain, yet full of possibilities. It is in that moment that she must decide, will she remain confined within the walls built by society, or will she break through and define her own path? There is a moment in life when we all stand before a mirror, looking at the reflection staring back at us, searching for something, validation, worth, beauty, purpose. But what do we truly see? Do you see someone who is enough just as they are? Or do we see a collection of flaws, regrets, and past mistakes? This moment, this realization, is where true empowerment begins. It begins with acceptance. Acceptance is not an easy journey. It is not a switch that can be turned on overnight. It is a battle between who we are and who the world expects us to be. Society has built invisible walls around us, telling us that we are never enough. If we are strong, we are too aggressive. If we are soft, we are too weak. If we are ambitious, we are selfish. If we are simple, we lack drive. These contradictions are woven into the fabric of our existence, whispering that we must change, that we must fit into a mold that was never made for us. But the truth is, we were never meant to fit in. We were meant to stand out, to embrace our own identity, to accept ourselves unapologetically. Acceptance is the courage to stand in front of that mirror and say, I am enough. It is the ability to see our scars, both visible and hidden, and wear them as badges of honor. Every scar, every wound, every moment of struggle tells a story of survival, of resilience, of battles fought and won. Why should we hide them? Why should we let the world tell us that our pain makes us weak when, in reality, it has shaped us into warriors? Many of us spend our lives seeking validation from others. We mold ourselves to fit expectations, to be liked, to be accepted. But in doing so, we abandon the most important person in our lives, ourselves. How can we expect the world to accept us when we refuse to accept ourselves? How can we demand respect when we do not respect who we are? The truth is, the world treats us the way we allow it to. When we stand in our truth, when we accept ourselves wholly, the world has no choice but to follow. Acceptance is not about complacency. It is not about settling for less. It is about embracing the present moment and who we are right now while still allowing ourselves room to grow. It is saying, this is me, with all my imperfections, all my fears, all my strengths, and I love who I am becoming. It is the realization that self-love is not selfish. It is necessary. A flower does not apologize for blooming. The sun does not ask for permission to shine. So why should we shrink ourselves to make others comfortable? Often, we fear acceptance because we fear rejection. We fear that if we embrace who we truly are, we might lose people along the way. And the truth is, we will. Not everyone will understand our journey. Not everyone will celebrate our growth. But that is okay. People who truly belong in our lives will accept us for who we are, not who they want us to be. And those who leave, they were never meant to stay. Acceptance is freedom. It is the freedom to be ourselves without seeking approval. It is the freedom to walk into a room and not feel the need to prove anything to anyone. It is the freedom to love ourselves even on our worst days. Because the truth is, no one else can complete us. No one else can give us the love we refuse to give ourselves. We spend our lives looking for someone to fill the void within us, not realizing that the only person who can truly complete us is the one staring back in the mirror. For years, many of us have believed that we are not good enough. We have been conditioned to think that we need to change, to improve, to be someone else in order to be loved, to be successful, to be worthy. But let me tell you something. You are already. Your worth is not defined by your past, your mistakes, your failures, or the opinions of others. Your worth is not something you need to earn. It is something you were born with. The only person who needs to recognize it is you. The path to acceptance is not without challenges. It requires unlearning years of conditioning. It requires silencing the inner critic that tells us we are not enough. It requires standing firm when the world tries to shake our confidence. It requires reminding ourselves every single day that we are deserving of love, respect, and happiness. Not because of what we achieve, but simply because we exist. When we accept ourselves, something incredible happens. We stop comparing our journey to others. We stop feeling threatened by someone else's success. We stop seeking validation from people who do not matter. We begin to live authentically, to love deeply, to embrace every part of ourselves without shame, and in doing so, we inspire others to do the same. Because here's the truth. When you accept yourself, you give others permission to accept themselves too. When you stand confidently in your own skin, you become a beacon of hope for those still struggling. You show them that it is possible to love themselves just as they are. You show them that they are not alone. So, to every woman listening, accept yourself. Love yourself. Be kind to yourself. Stop waiting for the world to tell you that you are enough. You were always enough. You always will be. And the moment you truly believe that, nothing will ever be able to hold you back again. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to act despite it. Fear is a constant presence in our lives, lurking in the corners of our minds, whispering doubts, reminding us of past failures, and painting pictures of worst-case scenarios. It tells us to stay where we are, to avoid risks, to keep our heads down, and to never venture into the unknown. But courage, true courage, is the moment we decide that fear will not define us. It is when we hear that whisper and say, I will move forward anyway. Every woman at some point in her life stands at the edge of uncertainty, wondering whether she is strong enough to take the next step. Society has long conditioned women to play it safe, to be agreeable, to avoid confrontation, to prioritize the comfort of others over their own dreams. We are told that we must fit into a mold, follow a certain path, adhere to certain expectations. It is the moment we decide to listen to our own voice instead of the voices that try to dictate our future. Courage is waking up every day and showing up, even when everything feels like it's falling apart. It is the strength to face rejection, to endure setbacks, and to keep pushing forward. It is standing in front of a room full of people who doubt you and saying, I believe in myself. It is refusing to shrink when the world tells you to make yourself smaller. It is speaking up when your voice shakes, taking a step forward when your legs feel weak, and standing tall when life tries to break you down. For many women, courage is not just about chasing dreams or breaking stereotypes. It is about survival. It is about fighting battles no one sees, carrying burdens no one understands, and waking up each day with the determination to keep going. It is the woman who leaves an abusive relationship despite the fear of the unknown. It is the mother who sacrifices everything to give her children a better life. It is the young girl who dares to dream in a world that constantly tries to silence her. Courage is found in the quietest moments. When we decide to love ourselves despite our insecurities. When we choose to walk away from things that no longer serve us. When we refuse to let fear dictate our choices. We often look at courage as something grand and heroic, something that belongs to warriors and leaders, to people who make history. But courage exists in the everyday choices we make. It is in the woman who decides to go back to school after years of being told it's too late. It is in the entrepreneur who risks everything to build something from nothing. It is in the artist who shares her work despite the fear of criticism. It is in the survivor who speaks her truth even when the world tells her to stay silent. Fear will always be there, but courage is the decision to move forward despite it. The truth is, we will never be completely ready for the challenges life throws our way. There will never be a perfect moment, a guarantee of success, or a promise that everything will work out exactly as we hope. But courage is about taking the leap anyway. It is about trusting ourselves, believing in our strength, and knowing that even if we fall, we have the power to rise again. Courage does not mean we will never feel afraid. It means that fear no longer controls us. It means standing up for what is right, even when we stand alone. It means making difficult choices, even when they come with consequences. It means embracing our true selves, even when the world tries to tell us who we should be. The journey of courage is not without obstacles. There will be people who doubt us, who criticize us, who try to make us feel small. There will be moments when we question ourselves, when the weight of expectations feels too heavy, when the fear of failure seems unbearable. But in those moments, we must remember why we started. We must remind ourselves that we are capable, that we are strong, that we have already come so far. Courage is not about winning every battle. It is about having the strength to fight in the first place. It is about showing up again and again, even when the odds are stacked against us. It is about refusing to settle for a life that does not fulfill us, about breaking cycles, about challenging norms. It is about daring to be different, to think differently, to dream bigger. Women have been breaking barriers for generations, not because it was easy, but because they refuse to let fear hold them back. They have fought for their rights, for their voices to be heard, for the freedom to live life on their own terms. And that fight is not over. Every woman who chooses courage over fear becomes part of that legacy. Every woman who refuses to give up, who dares to take up space, who speaks her truth, she paves the way for those who come after her. So courage is not just a moment of bravery, it is a way of living. It is a mindset, a decision we make every single day. It is in the way we carry ourselves, the way we lift others up, the way we refuse to let fear define our lives. Courage is knowing that we are powerful beyond measure, that we are capable of greatness, that we are worthy of every dream we have ever dared to dream. Because the truth is, the only thing standing between us and the life we want is fear. And once we choose courage, once we decide that we are stronger than our doubts, nothing will ever be able to stop us again. There is a force within each of us, a quiet but powerful voice that whispers, "You can." It is the voice that tells us to stand up after we fall, to keep pushing forward even when the road is uncertain, to believe in ourselves when no one else does. But too often, that voice is drowned out by doubt, by the expectations of others, by the fear of failure. We hesitate, we second guess. We convince ourselves that we are not enough. But here is the truth. The only thing separating us from the life we want is our ability to believe that we deserve it. Self-belief is not about arrogance or blind confidence. It is about recognizing our worth, our potential, and our ability to overcome whatever comes our way. It is about understanding that we are not defined by our failures, our past mistakes, or the opinions of others. It is about knowing deep in our hearts that we are capable of greatness. But for many of us, that belief does not come easily. We have been taught to seek validation from others, to measure our worth based on external success, to wait for permission to dream. And in doing so, we have silenced the most important voice of all, our own. Every great achievement in history began with self-belief. Every barrier broken, every revolution started, every dream realized, it all began with someone who dared to believe in themselves when no one else did. But self-belief is not just about achieving success. It is about the way we see ourselves. It is about the way we talk to ourselves when no one is watching, the way we carry ourselves in moments of uncertainty, the way we choose to define our own worth instead of letting the world do it for us. Too often, we wait for someone else to tell us we are good enough. We wait for approval, for recognition, for validation. But what if we stopped waiting? What if we decided right now that we are already enough? That we do not need anyone else's permission to believe in ourselves, that we do not need to prove our worth to anyone but ourselves. Self-belief is a decision we make every single day. It is waking up in the morning and choosing to trust ourselves even when doubt creeps in. It is looking in the mirror and seeing strength instead of flaws. It is knowing that we are more than our mistakes, more than our fears, more than the limitations others place on us. It is refusing to let failure define us because we understand that every setback is just a step forward in disguise. But believing in ourselves is not always easy. We live in a world that constantly tells us we are not enough. We are told we are too young or too old, too ambitious or not ambitious enough, too outspoken or too quiet. We are told to change, to conform, to fit into boxes that were never meant to hold us. And after hearing these messages for so long, we start to believe them. We start to doubt ourselves, to question our abilities, to wonder if we are truly capable of achieving the things we dream of. But here is the truth. The only limits that exist are the ones we accept. The moment we stop believing in those limits, we become unstoppable. We must unlearn the lies we have been told about who we are and what we can do. We must replace doubt with certainty, fear with confidence, hesitation with action. We must remind ourselves every single day that we are capable of more than we have ever imagined. Self-belief is not about never failing. It is about knowing that failure does not define us. It is about getting up after every fall, learning from every mistake, and moving forward with even more determination. It is about understanding that rejection is not a reflection of our worth, but simply a redirection towards something better. It is about refusing to let temporary setbacks make us forget who we truly are. When we believe in ourselves, everything changes. We stop waiting for the perfect moment and start creating it. We stop comparing ourselves to others and start focusing on our own growth. We stop seeking approval and start trusting our own judgment. We begin to take risks, to step out of our comfort zones, to chase dreams that once felt impossible. And in doing so, we discover a strength we never knew we had. Self-belief is not just about us. When we believe in ourselves, we give others permission to do the same. We become examples of what is possible. We inspire others to trust themselves, to chase their own dreams, to step into their own power, because self-belief is contagious. When we carry ourselves with confidence, when we refuse to shrink in the face of doubt, when we stand tall and own our worth, we encourage others to do the same. The world will always have opinions about who we should be. People always have something to say, but at the end of the day, the only voice that truly matters is our own. The only belief that has the power to shape our future is the belief we have in ourselves. So we must ask ourselves, what would we do if we truly believed in our own power? What risks would we take? What dreams would we chase? What barriers would we break? And most importantly, what are we waiting for? The truth is, we already have everything we need within us. We do not need permission. We do not need validation. We do not need to wait for the right time, the right opportunity, the right circumstances. The only thing we need is to believe that we are capable, that we are worthy, that we are enough. Because once we truly believe that, once we embrace our power and refuse to let anything hold us back, there is nothing in this world that can stop us. Life is unpredictable. It does not always go as planned. It does not always reward our efforts immediately or provide answers when we need them the most. It is full of unexpected storms, loss, heartbreak, failure, rejection, and moments that shake us to our core. In those moments when everything feels like it is falling apart, we are faced with a choice. Do we give up or do we rise again? Resilience is the ability to rise. It is the power to stand tall even after being knocked down. It is the unwavering strength that allows us to keep moving forward even when the road ahead is uncertain. Resilience is not about pretending that life is easy. It is not about denying pain or suppressing emotions. It is about embracing the struggle and choosing to grow through it. It is about understanding that difficulties are not meant to break us, they are meant to shape us. Every challenge we face, every hardship we endure is a lesson, a test of our strength, and an opportunity to become even stronger. Many people believe resilience is something we are either born with or without. But the truth is, resilience is built over time. It is a skill, a mindset, a choice we make every single day. It is developed through experience, through hardship, through moments when we feel like we have nothing left to give, but we give anyway. Resilience is the quiet strength that says, I will not let this define me. I will not let this break me. I will find a way to rise. There will be moments in life when it feels like everything is against us, when doors close, when dreams shatter, when people we trust walk away. In those moments, resilience is what allows us to keep going. It is the belief that even in the darkest of times, there is light ahead. It is the understanding that pain is temporary, that failure is not final, and that setbacks are simply setups for comebacks. The journey of resilience begins with the acceptance that struggle is part of life. Too often we resist pain, we fight against difficulty, we ask, why me? But what if we change the question? What if, instead of asking why we are facing hardship, we asked, what is this teaching me? How can I grow from this? Every challenge carries a lesson. Every moment of suffering holds the potential for transformation. The strongest people are not those who have never faced difficulty, but those who have faced it, endured it, and emerged even stronger. Resilience is not about being fearless. It is about feeling fear and moving forward anyway. It is about standing in the face of uncertainty and saying, I will figure this out. It is about trusting ourselves, even when everything around us feels unstable. The world will test us. Life will throw obstacles in our way. But resilience is knowing that no matter how many times we fall, we will always find the way to rise again. One of the greatest myths about resilience is that it means handling everything alone. But true resilience is not about pretending we do not need help. It is about knowing when to lean on others. It is about recognizing that strength is not found in isolation but in connection. It is about reaching out, asking for support, allowing others to walk alongside us in difficult times. There is no shame in seeking help. There is no weakness in admitting that we are struggling. In fact, it is one of the bravest things we can do. Resilience is also about self-compassion. Too often, we are our own harshest critics. We blame ourselves for our failures, we dwell on our mistakes, we replay moments of weakness in our minds over and over again. But resilience is not about being perfect. It is about embracing imperfection. It is about forgiving ourselves, about recognizing that we are human, about allowing ourselves to heal. Failure is an inevitable part of life. No one succeeds without first failing. No one reaches their dreams without facing setbacks. But what separates those who succeed from those who don't is not talent, intelligence, or luck. It is resilience. It is the ability to look failure in the face and say, this is not the end of my story. It is the determination to try again, to learn from mistakes, to rise from the ashes stronger than before. There will be times when we feel exhausted, when we question whether we can keep going. In those moments, resilience is about taking one small step at a time. It is about focusing not on the entire journey, but on the next step. Because sometimes, the bravest thing we can do is simply keep moving forward. Resilience is also about perspective. It is about choosing to see challenges not as roadblocks, but as stepping stones. It is about understanding that pain is part of the journey, but it does not define the destination. Every hardship we face is an opportunity to grow, to learn, to become wiser and stronger. History is filled with women who refused to let adversity define them. Women who faced unimaginable hardship but refused to give up. Women who turned pain into power, struggle into strength. They were not born with extraordinary resilience, they built it. They chose every single day to keep fighting, to keep believing, to keep pushing forward. And if they could do it, so can we. Resilience is not just about surviving, it is about thriving. It is about refusing to be a victim of circumstance and instead becoming the author of our own story. It is about refusing to be defined by what has happened to us and instead choosing to define ourselves by how we respond. It is about looking back at our struggles and realizing that every hardship, every setback, every painful moment has led us to where we are today. Life will test us. It will push us to our limits. It will throw storms our way. But resilience is the unshakable belief that no matter how hard things get, we will rise again. It is the fire within us that refuses to be extinguished. It is the strength that allows us to keep moving forward no matter what. And the truth is, we are all capable of resilience. It is not something reserved for a select few. It is within each of us, waiting to be awakened. We are stronger than we think, braver than we believe, and more powerful than we have ever imagined. And when we embrace resilience, when we refuse to give up, when we choose to rise again and again, there is nothing in this world that can break us. Empowerment is not something that is given to us. It is something we claim. It is the realization that we are not defined by our circumstances, by the limitations placed upon us, or by the expectations of others. It is the understanding that we hold the power to shape our own destiny, to rise above challenges, to carve out our own path. Empowerment is the moment we decide that we will no longer wait for permission to live the life we deserve. For centuries, women have been told what they can and cannot do. They have been made to believe that they must seek approval, that their worth is determined by others, that they must stay within boundaries set by society. But true empowerment begins the moment a woman realizes that she does not need anyone else's validation. It begins when she understands that her voice matters, her dreams are valid, and her existence is powerful beyond measure. Empowerment is the ability to stand tall despite the voices that tell us we cannot. It is the strength to pursue our passions, to chase our dreams, to take up space in a world that often tries to make us small. It is knowing that we are not obligated to fit into roles that do not align with our true selves. We have the right to define who we are, what we want, and what kind of life we will create for ourselves. But empowerment is not just about personal success. It is about lifting others as we rise. It is about creating a world where every woman feels seen, heard, and valued. It is about recognizing that when one woman breaks through a barrier, she opens the door for countless others to follow. It is about understanding that true empowerment is not selfish. It is a force that creates ripples of change, touching lives beyond our own. Too often, women are taught to compete with each other rather than support one another. We are made to believe that success is limited, that there is only space for a few at the top, that another woman's achievement somehow diminishes our own. But true empowerment is the opposite. It is about celebrating each other's victories, amplifying each other's voices, standing together instead of tearing each other down. A truly empowered woman does not fear the success of another. She encourages it. She nurtures it. She fights for it, just as fiercely as she fights for her own. Empowerment is also about self-acceptance. It is about embracing who we are unapologetically and wholeheartedly. It is about recognizing that our worth is not tied to our appearance, our status, or the opinions of others. It is about knowing that we are enough just as we are. The world will always have something to say. It will tell us we are too much or not enough, too ambitious or too passive, too outspoken or too quiet. But empowerment is knowing that we do not need to change ourselves to fit into someone else's idea of who we should be. At its core, empowerment is about choice. It is about the freedom to decide our own fate, to pursue our own passions, to build the life we desire. It is about reclaiming our power from those who have tried to diminish it. It is about realizing that we are not weak, that we are not fragile, that we do not have to live in the shadows. It is about stepping forward with confidence and declaring, I am here, I matter, I will not be silenced. But empowerment is not always easy. It requires courage, it requires resilience, it requires breaking free from years of conditioning, from voices that have told us to shrink, to be small, to stay silent. It requires us to step outside of our comfort zones, to take risk, to believe in ourselves even when no one else does. It requires us to face our fears head on and move forward despite them. One of the most powerful aspects of empowerment is the ability to inspire others. When a woman embraces her power, she gives others permission to do the same. She becomes a beacon of hope, a source of strength, a reminder that it is possible to rise above limitations. She shows the world what is possible when we refuse to be held back by fear. Empowerment is not just about big achievements or grand gestures. It is in the small moments too. The moments when we choose to speak up instead of staying silent. When we choose to believe in ourselves instead of doubting. When we choose to lift another woman instead of competing with her. It is in the way we carry ourselves, in the way we support one another, in the way we refuse to accept anything less than what we deserve. Every woman has the power to be a force of change. Every woman has the ability to break barriers, to challenge norms, to rewrite the rules. The journey to empowerment is not always smooth, but it is always worth it. It is a journey of self-discovery, of self-belief, of unwavering determination. It is the realization that we are not just participants in our own lives. We are the creators, the architects, the ones who decide our own fate. So empowerment is not a destination, it is a way of living. It is a mindset, a belief, a daily choice. It is about standing tall, owning our worth, and never allowing anyone to dim our light. It is about knowing that we are capable, that we are strong, that we are worthy of every dream we have ever dared to dream. Because the truth is, no one can take our power away unless we let them. And once we embrace that power, once we claim it as our own, there is nothing in this world that can stop us. Breaking barriers is not just about overcoming obstacles. It is about redefining what is possible. It is about rising beyond limitations, believing in our worth, embracing resilience, and empowering ourselves and others. Every challenge we face is an opportunity to grow. Every setback is a lesson. And every moment of self-doubt is a chance to reaffirm our strength. The journey to empowerment is not always easy. There will be moments of fear, uncertainty, and struggle. But within each of us lies an unbreakable spirit, a force that refuses to be silenced, a strength that will not be diminished. We are not defined by our past, by our failures, or by the opinions of others. We are defined by our courage to stand tall, our willingness to believe in ourselves, and our determination to create a world where every woman can rise without limits. So let us refuse to be confined by expectations. Let us lift each other, support each other, and celebrate each other. Let us embrace our power and own our voices, because when one woman breaks the barrier, she does not just free herself, she paves the way for others to follow. The time for waiting is over. The time for doubting is over. The time for breaking barriers, for rising, for owning our strength is now. And when we do, there is nothing we cannot achieve.